Well, here we are, December 2025, wrapping up 2025. And so it's an interesting year, a lot going on in real estate. And of course, we always try to talk about the things that our buyers and sellers are asking us on a regular basis. Yeah. So we figure if they're asking us these questions, our viewers probably have the similar questions. And one that never seems to go away is interest rates. Yep. And are they going down? How much are they going to go down? You know, how should that affect my plans? So today they're 6.27% as we record this. So what do you think?
Well, I think we're heading in the right direction. And I think a lot of people would agree, our viewers and agents and buyers and sellers. But, you know, we're all obviously hoping they would get a little bit more aggressive and move this along faster. The faster we can get these rates lower than where they're at right now, where they've been, the more buyers we unlock in the marketplace, which helps our market get out of this buyer's market it's been in for a while.
Yeah, so I was looking at all the predictions for next year. The lowest one I found was Fannie Mae saying it'll go down to about 5.9% next year. Everybody else was in the low 6% range, hovering even kind of just right where it's at is even what some are saying, like I think it was Redfin. But if we look at what they have to get to suddenly start getting a change in the marketplace and accelerate sales, it's widely believed somewhere between 5.25% to 5.75% is what it's going to have to shift to get buyers off the fence. And there's one really obvious reason why, and that is because when you get below 5.5%, that breaks or unlocks these buyers that are it makes it where houses suddenly become cheaper to buy instead of rent. Right now, it's actually cheaper to rent instead of buy. And the average for rent right now in Lee County is something like $2,258 a month, right? And if you look at mortgage payments, I was doing some math on this, 6.3% on a $400,000 loan is $2,475 a month. 5.75% on a $400,000 loan is $2,334 a month. And 5.25% is $2,207 a month. Wow! And it's not. Of course, tenants also they don't have to worry about the property taxes and repairs. So
and the big one, the insurance, right?
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, the insurance, right? Yeah. So the other thing that when rates get below 5.5%, it breaks the lock-in effect of sellers that are hanging on to their low interest rate, because at that point, fully 70% of the mortgages out there will be within 1 or 1.5% of that rate. So that's something that we're watching as well.
Yeah. And as agents, I still run into sellers who are, they're waffling with the idea, do I just stay where I'm at? And they're obviously thinking about selling because they're unhappy with their home for some reason or another. Or do I move? And the interest rates are a big part of that. If they've got low interest rates, they're willing to stay unhappy, if you will, in their current situation longer. But if those rates start to come down, we'll see some of those buyers get unlocked, along with, like you said, the people who are renting right now for less than they could own, and then investors. You start to unlock one wave of buyer after another, and all of a sudden you've got more ways to hopefully help the market out more quickly.
Well, with the other question sellers are asking us a lot right now is, hey, season's coming, right? And that's going to save the day. Is that going to save the day for sellers? Is it going to suddenly make homes sell fast and prices go up? Should sellers raise their price in anticipation of season?
The short answer is no. So you should be happy with the influx of buyers and the benefits that will come with that as you put your home up for sale during the season. However, it is not generally or historically a reason to raise your price or get more out of your house than you would have if you sold it at a different time of the year. So what and it's more so the sellers, I think, and agents do as well, They ignore the fact that as we see an increase in buyer activity, we also see an increase in seller activity. It's almost equal, right? I think you've got some of the percentages down, but we see a lot more homes get listed, a lot more condos get listed, but we also see more buyers come into the market, and they kind of wash themselves out.
Yeah, it's pretty even. It's about 20-25% more buyers typically in high season, which is January through April. And there's also typically anywhere from 15 to 20% more inventory, with the bulk of that coming on in January. So that's going to be something we're going to start seeing here real quick. Yeah. And if you look at the absorption rate, meaning how long would it take to sell every house that's listed for sale in Lee County right now, it's sitting at 8 months. And anything over 6 months is considered a buyer's market, more sellers than buyers. So buyers have the upper hand this season, just like they did the 2 seasons before it. And what did we see those last 2 seasons? Prices were still going down because there was an oversupply. We're still going to have an oversupply this season, which means we're still going to have downward pressure. So sellers going on the market this season should price their homes with a little bit of reality in mind.
Yeah, and I think that will go a long way, because if we look back to last season, and mind you, last season was a little different. We were still in that buyer's market like we are right now, but we also had back-to-back hurricanes, Helene and Milton, which happened in October, November, right before the season really kicked into gear. But what wound up happening is we saw that influx in inventory. We saw an influx in buyer activity. But the influx in inventory also resulted in a lot of price reductions very early on. January, February, we saw a lot of homes come to the market, a lot of condos, and then we saw a lot of price reductions as sellers entering into the market started to compete with one another. And more motivated sellers adjusted according to the new inventory coming on. So, just something to watch out for. There's no marketing program. There's nothing you can do as a seller that's better than just talking to your agent, looking at the comps, and being realistic about your entry number.
Right, which should be based on either the actual sold or pending comps, or if the active inventory is lower. Like I just priced a home today for someone in a new home community. The builder's actually undercutting what a lot of people have into their homes there. So you got to look at the active inventory, and if that's lower than the solds, you got to price based on those actives. And either way, with season, it does tend to boost all properties, but the ones that really benefit the most are typically luxury properties. More luxury buyers are in town. Your snowbird seasonal type of buyers. Also, usually condos see a bump in season, although that's been muted by the high HOA fees lately. So I'm starting to see a little bit more interest in condos this year, but it probably still will be a muted demand.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, I know we want to cover all the questions our sellers are getting to us, but just one last point on the whole season thing too. What we are very optimistic about the season. We're already, as agents, we're seeing an uptick in our showings. We're seeing interest already. And we started seeing that back in November. We have a stock market that's doing very well going into season, which does tend to boost our second home market whenever that happens, and the two coincide. We've managed to stay away from major storms and named hurricanes. That's always a plus. So we've got a lot of good things happening in the marketplace leading up to the season. So it's a great time to be optimistic, but be realistic at the same time.
Yeah, well,
because we're still in a buyer's market.
Definitely. And for sellers that don't like the prices out there and they want to hold, we're telling folks, be prepared for a multi-year hold. This cycle's got to run its course. It's got to hit the bottom, and then it's got to start, working its way back up, chewing through all that inventory before we have a chance for it to flip to a seller's market, which would be 3 months or less supply. Of course, every seller is asking us now, but this year is different because of the New York City election, right? And every seller is asking us, hey, is that going to suddenly cause a lot more buyers in the marketplace? Should I raise my price? We're even hearing people say,
my goodness.
So what say you about the New York City election affecting the Southwest Florida real estate market?
I stay away from politics. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's unavoidable. We're hearing it in virtually every buyer, every seller we talk to, and anybody who hears that you're in real estate, hey, did you see any, it's not having that big of an effect. I mean, if you really think about it, and even if we did have some migration coming as an effect or as a product of the election, Florida is an awfully big state. I mean, how impactful can it really be if it kind of gets watered down by the entire state of Florida? Not to mention, we're located on the West Coast, and generally New Yorkers, New Jersey, they tend to gravitate to the East Coast of Florida. So if there is a recipient of the buyers that come from this, I think it's going to be places like West Palm, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, places that generally attract the New York crowd. We generally get a little bit more of the Northeasterners and Midwesterners on the Gulf Coast. But that being said, I do think we can be the recipient of a few buyers. We have, you have buyers who want to live in West Palm, right? But can you afford to live in West Palm, Jupiter, Miami, Fort Lauderdale? So we might be the recipients of buyers who would like to live over there but can't afford to purchase there. We're going to be a very affordable option. We've got golf courses. We've got the same weather. We have sandy beaches. We have boating. We have everything they're coming to Florida for, but at a better price tag. If you've visited here, if you're a seasonal person already who's come and stayed in an Airbnb on the Gulf Coast, you might be attracted to our side, knowing the area, familiarity. If you have family here, friends or relatives who are telling you to come over to Lee County, Collier County, you might come over here for that reason too. So I think we might get some people, but I don't think it's going to be the thing that saves the day.
Yeah, it seems like it's a lot of hype at this point. First thing, if you look at what, you see a lot of it in the news, it's usually around conversations that are either political or it's, you look at the people that are espousing this idea, they're either in the real estate industry or they're developers. So not much data to back it up. And it's worth noting that this migration has been going on for a long time, well That's before true. COVID. COVID kind of accelerated it. And the conversations usually that it's going to chase the wealthy people out of New York City, right? And what do wealthy people do? They don't buy low end or mid range homes; they buy luxury homes. So probably you're right. Luxury market in South Florida, which would be the East Coast, is most likely who's going to benefit the most. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out, but I'm not predicting a tsunami of New York City residents coming to Cape Coral, Fort Myers. Yeah. Another thing our sellers are mentioning a lot, and even buyers, are the property tax proposals that are out there in the state legislature about everything from slowing the increase of property taxes to outright eliminating them. So I did a little homework on this, and there's basically, if you look at all the proposals, they can be broken down into like 5 categories. One of the proposals is eliminate all property tax that is non-school property tax. So just flat out eliminate anything that's non-school. There's another proposal out there that's eliminate everything that's non-school, but just for people that are 65 and older. Okay. And then you've got another proposal out there that is to just increase the homestead exemption. Mm-hmm. There's another one out there that is to increase the portability of your homestead. And then you got the final bills I'm kind of seeing are all limits on assessed value increases, like maybe don't increase them every year, but every 3 years or something like that. Mm-hmm. So no matter what happens, it's going to be the voters who decide. 60% of voters have to approve any of this stuff. And it's going to, I have a feeling it'll be something, because voters will definitely vote for probably that if they have the opportunity. Yeah,
who's not voting for that? And there's so many different items being put out there. Mm-hmm. You got to think that 1 or 2 might pass. They're kind of spaghetti method. Put everything out there and see what the voters respond to and what gets passed through legislation. But I think it's another thing just to remind our viewers. It has to go through the voting process. It has to get passed. Has to take effect. So I think these are highly beneficial for a lot of the residents in our community. And it could also be one of those things that unlocks a few more buyers, or just it gives a little relief to a lot of the residents in our area who are maybe, up against their bills or on fixed incomes, a lot of our owners that way. But so it could bring some money back into the economy here, but it's just going to take time.
Yeah. And as an investor, I have some ideas about that. I'm wondering, is this going to affect the investor? Because if it goes through, like, let's say they reduce property taxes in general, the investor could actually get a better return on their property, right? Because they have lower expenses. Or could it go the other way? Well, we're not charging it to homestead people, but we're gonna, the investors with the investment properties, are they going to get somehow, more taxes as a result of that? So I don't know which way that's going to go.
Yeah, because you got to think it's going to. I mean, if you're going to take that revenue, and you're going to have to get it back somewhere. So if you're going to take it off here, where are you going to get it from?
Yeah. So city budgets are definitely going to have to be refigured somehow. But anyway, so we got a lot going on. We're heading into high season right now. Yeah. January, as we just mentioned, biggest listing month of the year. Buyers will be starting to show up, and it's been kind of a brutal start to winter up north. So I'm hopeful, like a lot of folks are, that we're going to have a great season on our hands. Thank God, no storms. So a lot of positive stuff going into this season.
Yeah, if you had a checklist, we've just checked one box after another on what it would take to kind of shape up and make a great season for our market. So, now all we have to do is, sit back and see how it plays out. But all the right things are happening: rates, storms, stock market, elections, if you want to put that on the list. Like you said, the weather's already brutal up north. I mean, now all we need are the buyers to come in.
Yep. Well, next time we record, we're going to be in a new year, and wishing all our viewers happy holidays until then. Yeah. And we'll catch up to you next year.
All right. Happy holidays. Thanks.